welcome to White Coat Wednesday. My name is Nicolette. I'm a first-year medical student at UQ-Ochsner, and today I'm joined by my colleague, Kylie Kriener, who is an MD PhD student, and she's here today to share her experiences doing the intercalated MD PhD program. Kylie, you ready to jump into the first question?
Let's go.
Great. So can you please explain to us what the intercalated PhD is and how it works at UQ-Ochsner?
Yeah, so when you graduate, you'll have both an MD and a PhD. The first 2 years, you complete your MD studies in Brisbane. Then you do 3 years of the PhD, which you have the flexibility to do either here or somewhere else. And then the last 2 years, so it would be years 6 and 7, you go back to the MD program and you finish your clinical years of the MD.
Great. So that's a lot of time working on a research project. How did you pick the one that you're working on, and can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so the project I'm working on really marries my interests. So my background is in engineering, and I'm very interested in surgery. So the project we're doing focuses on teaching procedural skills using physical mimics. The particular skill that we're focusing on is laparoscopic abdominal trocar placement. And so laparoscopy is a minimally invasive surgery. You basically access the abdomen through holes that you make with a trocar. And in these holes, you place your camera, your instruments. So we're trying to make an abdominal wall mimic that feels like the real thing and can teach the procedure.
And do you think these skills that you've learned working on this research are going to help you in your MD career?
I hope so. I think, I've learned some really interesting procedural skills that I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to learn as a second-year medical student. And just the general skills with research, I've learned quite a bit.
I remember when you came into our anatomy lab and was talking about your research and getting other students involved too. So deciding to interrupt your medical degree to pursue research would have been a really challenging decision to make. It's a lot of time and extra training. What factors went into making that decision?
Yeah, so I was always interested in research, and it's a very big decision. So a few things to consider are your project and your supervisor. The project, you have to really enjoy it, really be interested in it, because it is going to be your life for the next 3 years at least. And then your supervisor really makes or breaks your experience. So I have a fantastic supervisor. We get along really well. We work well together. So that was very helpful. And then everyone is going to have different personal circumstances. I'm married, so it was a discussion my spouse and I had. He was very supportive, encouraged me to do the PhD. And so ultimately it came down to me just really wanting to do it. And yeah, that's how I chose it.
And so when you're taking that extra time to pursue research, how do you fund the project that you're working on?
Yeah, so luckily through UQ, they have a research training program scholarship, and that will fund the tuition for the PhD, as well as provide a living stipend. And then for the final 2 years, when you go back to the MD, Ochsner has a scholarship for MD PhD students where they'll cover the last 2 years of tuition, which takes a lot of financial burden off of students.
And I guess they're pretty supportive in helping you with that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Both Ochsner and UQ have been absolutely fantastic in supporting me, answering questions. So yeah, it's been a good experience.
It's really good to know that that support exists. And so as you're coming to the end of your time here in Brisbane working on your PhD, how do you feel about making the transition back to New Orleans and joining a new cohort and curriculum?
It's super daunting. I also have a 2-year-old, so we are going to be flying across the Pacific with a very energetic little girl. But luckily, while I've been doing the PhD, I've done some demonstrating in the GAF, which is essentially TAing, and I've gotten to know a lot of my classmates that are going to Ochsner, and that's just been super helpful in just establishing connections and making relationships with the people I'll be working with for the next 2 years.
I think one thing that's really nice about our program too is no matter what class you're in, you always have a friend with people.
Absolutely.
And I've been so pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah. Yep.
And so when we're thinking about students who are interested in doing the intercalated PhD, what advice would you give to those students thinking about making this decision?
Yeah, listen, it's not for everyone. It takes a lot of consideration. So again, be really interested in the project, maybe do a few different lab tours just to maybe meet supervisors. And then just general advice would be, maybe have a CV ready, network, email professors or whoever is conducting the research, and really just enjoy the process.
And so now that you're almost done with the PhD, do you feel like you're going to continue your research when you're in New Orleans?
I hope so. It's a difficult answer because one of the things with the PhD is, or the intercalated program, is you don't have to finish your thesis by the time your 3 years are up. I'll probably be in that category where I'll be wrapping up the remainder of my thesis over years 3 and 4. So it really just depends on where I get with writing.
And another important question I think to ask was, would you choose this path again?
I absolutely would, actually. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I try not to regret any decision I make because I've already made it. So you might as well just enjoy it. Just love what you're doing.
And keep going.
Keep going.
And so for students that may decide that they aren't interested in doing the MD PhD, how else can they get involved in research at UQ?
Yeah, UQ is a fantastic university to do research. There's just so many projects across different topics. The Faculty of Medicine has a research portal. So it lists projects, whether the PI is looking for extracurricular research, master's student, or PhD. So that's a great place to start scanning and just taking a look at what's available.
And there's a lot in regards to basic and clinical research.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Kylie, for sharing your experiences about the MD PhD program here at UQ-Ochsner, and good luck with the rest of your studies. My name is Nicolette, and this concludes our White Coat Wednesday episode, and we look forward to having you join us for our next one.